Descriptions of mindfulness often have three components. One is awareness, like becoming aware of what's happening. The other, very much related to that, is attention, intentionally paying attention to what's happening. And of course, that's partly how we become aware of things. And the third component is some kind of attitude. You often hear words like curiosity and kindness or non-judgment, for instance. And this is kind of the way you're paying attention. And oftentimes we might focus on the paying attention bit, the being present bit, the being aware bit. But actually this attitude, you can kind of think of it a bit like the vibe, how you're paying attention, is really what helps to transform our experience, or we could say helps us to find a bit of freedom with what's happening, so we're not quite so stuck with it. It's the kindness, the curiosity, other words like patience, acceptance. These are the qualities that help us to find a bit of wiggle room, freedom, space, so that we're not so caught up with things. And it's that can then allow us to move forward in new directions and transform our lives. An understandable question, though, is, well, how do you actually do any of that stuff? The kindness, the patience, the non-judgment, the acceptance, and so on. And there are a couple of things that can be really helpful here. One is actually to kind of embrace their opposites. So, for example, if you find that impatience is quite a feature in your experience, rather than making that wrong, actually really becoming aware of that without making it a problem, trying to condemn it or change it. Just, what's it like if you bring a sense of curiosity to patience? What's impatience? What's that like? The experience of impatience. Or if actually acceptance is a bit of a hard sell for you, you're feeling lots of resistance, like, what happens if you accept the resistance? So actually, the things that seem like the barriers or the obstacles to all these things, if you gently turn towards them, that can be a beginning of starting to get a sense of how all of this works. Another thing that can be really helpful here is to go with whatever feels easy. Often we might focus on the things we feel like we really suck at. But if you find one of these qualities, and there's loads of them, actually, these different, what are called the attitudes, if you find one that kind of makes sense to you already, you have some sense of what that might feel like or how that operates, that can be a way in. And really, any one of these attitudes, kindness, patience, curiosity, acceptance, letting go, non-judgment, there's a whole load of them. Any one of them can be a doorway in to mindfulness, but also, really to being able to find a bit of freedom with whatever it is that you're stuck with or that's troubling you. So those are some things that you can experiment with. And also to consider this possibility of really foregrounding the attitude bit, rather than paying attention furiously to what's going on. What's it like if we transform our attitude to what's happening? And often those seem like they're kind of baked into our personality. But it turns out that these mental factors or psychological domains, whatever we want to call them, are plastic. They change, they're changeable. We can learn about them and over time develop them in useful directions. Okay, hope that was helpful, useful in some way. If you've got any comments or questions, do let me know. Take care.